On this episode of Cuesta Dos, my brother David and I cover a wider range of topics over the past sports week. We talk about the New York Jets and their long carousel of injuries, Antonio Brown and his new legal case, which is pretty serious. Odell Beckham Jr. makes the show, being fined for his watch. Team USA's failure at the FIBA World Cup. Kevin Durant's new tell-all article. NFL Hall of Fame finalist for 2020. And a bill in both California and South Carolina that will allow NCAA players to get paid off their likeness. Without any further ado, intro time.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number since the number one. One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number since the number.
What's going on, sports fans? Welcome to another episode of Cuesta Dos. I'm Alex Cuesta here with my brother David Cuesta to talk to you about a whole bunch of topics in sports. What's going on, Dave?
Hola, everyone. Everything's going everything's going pretty bad, honestly, if you're a Jets fan. But everything's going well for me in life.
Everything's going terrible if you're a Jets fan. And I got to address something. I didn't address it on last Cuesta Dos. If anyone listened to The Playbook, which one of our newer shows with Rob and Yo, they talked a little bit of smack. Basically saying that they were the best show on sports opinions. And I have to say this. Simmer down, young bucks. You guys, was it 3 episodes deep that they're in? And they're already talking smack? Dave, we got to put a world of hurt on them.
I mean, what else do you expect from them? Well, we've known them.
Well, they've got maybe 20 weeks of fame as football goes on, and then we'll see what they do in the offseason.
Yeah, exactly. They have to find something to talk about.
They got to find – and Noah, you know what? Even though sports opinions is my umbrella, now I refuse to provide them with anything. No help. You're on your own, you little bastards. But we have a lot to get to today, Dave, and we're just going to start rolling right into it. And you mentioned the Jets, and God, are we in a world of hurt. Our Jets are screwed. We record this Sunday mornings. Thank God we're not playing until Monday. I told you I'm going to hate them until Sunday. I might hate them for a while now because now not only is C.J. Mosley not playing because he tweaked his groin and he's crying. Quinnen Williams is out because his braces hurt him, I think. I don't even know what the hell his injury is. His braces are hurting. Sam Darnold made out with more women than Mark Sanchez did in his 7 years here, and he has mono. He has a 13-year-old's disease. He has mono, and he's going to be out until next year probably because, you know, Jets, we say 4 weeks, it's going to be 16.
Well, actually, it came out as 3 to 7 weeks.
Yeah, no, it's going to be 16. And icing on the cake, Quincy Enunwa hurts his neck again. But good news, we traded with the Patriots a sixth-round pick, I think it was, in 2020 or 2021 for Demaryius Thomas, who's an aging wide receiver who can make big plays or drops a lot of passes. Hooray!
Well, the trade wasn't that bad when we still had Sam and Quincy got hurt. Like, it was okay, like, because at least we got another wide receiver who's played well before.
So now we have to turn to Trevor Siemian, who I don't mind. He's not a great player. He can make NFL plays. He has a winning record in the NFL.
He's at least one of the better backups in the NFL.
And he's played with Demaryius, so they have a little bit of chemistry when they were both over in Denver. So there is that. But Luke Falk is our backup. God, if Trevor Siemian goes down, it's going to be like back when we had Quincy Carter and Brooks Bollinger. Like, this is going to be all-time bad. And it's such a waste for the Jets this season. Dave, are you as now downtrodden as I am? And I blame this solely. I told Rob and Joe, I blame this solely on them because they talked so positively about the Jets on their last episode of Playbook.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's saddening. But, I mean, what are you going to do about it? Like, this isn't even play anymore. It's just everyone's just injured now. Like, it happens to one team every year most of the time that everyone just gets the injury bug and then they're out. From whatever potential they could have had, you never really see it. And it just happened to us this year.
And, you know, the sad part is, too, if you look at last week, Marcus May was injured all last week, one of the Jets' safeties. And he came back last week, and he had like a 92-point-something defensive rating from Pro Football Focus. And that was
kid's great.
That was the second highest for a defensive a safety, a D-back that played 25 or more snaps. Mm-hmm. So he comes back, and he has an encouraging week. Jamison Crowder looked awesome with his chemistry with Darnold. We couldn't push the ball downfield, but Lev had an MRI scare. He's ready to go for Monday. And then all of a sudden, it's Le'Veon Bell and the Jets. That's kind of what it is. And Adam Gase is sitting there with his crazy eyes, not knowing what to do.
Well, I think the best thing about this is that, Adam Gase is used to his starting quarterback going down, so it's not like it's entirely new territory for him. He still found ways to win games with Matt Moore, so maybe some hope is there, but right now it just doesn't look good.
So now the Jets are left with Trevor Siemian handing the ball off to Le'Veon Bell or throwing it to him, and then a stable of wide receivers of Demaryius Thomas, Robbie Anderson, Jamison Crowder. And we still don't have Chris Herndon coming back. He's still on a 4-game suspension. That line was not good. I know the Bills are a good defensive team, but
No, it was not good. But they also never – hopefully they had more time to gel because I don't think they never played together. So.
But this is now going to be back-to-back weeks of really good pass rushes because the Browns have a very good pass rush as well.
That's true.
Are we going to see Siemian? Now, Siemian, I think, has a little more mobility than Sam Darnold does. Sam Darnold's a better thrower of the football. But Trevor Siemian's a pretty mobile dude. So I think that'll be his benefit. But what are the Jets going to do to stop the Browns offense? Yeah, they stopped themselves last week. But the Jets defense is full of holes now, especially with Neville Hewitt and Blake Cashman as our 2 starting middle linebackers.
Well, I mean, you have to get to Baker. Like Rob from the playbook, he said last week, we had multiple times we had one-on-ones on the defensive line, and we just didn't get home. We didn't get to the quarterback. So we got to be able to beat those one-on-ones. And, I mean, Quinnen not being there is going to hurt, but we still have Leonard Williams, who should be good, Henry Anderson. I mean, Jordan Jenkins isn't bad. Like, we have people that should be able to beat these one-on-ones, at least one of them, to get over to Baker, because that's the best way you're going to be able to do anything. And just cover them for as long as you can, because that's a tough cover, OBJ and Jarvis.
Now, the Dolphins are in full tank mode, and the Jets have been linked to possibly trading in division for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Apparently, they want a fool's ransom for a very talented defensive back. But, so many teams are linked to him. I know.
I think literally like 31 teams are probably looking to trade for him.
And it's definitely going to be a king's ransom if you want to get a guy of his talent. But, God, should the Jets just do it? Because Trumaine is suffering on the outside.
No, I 100% want to. His contract's up in 2021, so we still have a little bit more time with him. We can always extend it. Like, it's not like he's up this year. The kid's great. Our cornerback play is not very great. It is not very good. Trumaine just got beat by John Brown all day last week. Darryl Robertson, he's not bad, but he's not great. So, like, Minkah would help a lot, especially with Jamal and Marcus May behind him.
Are you willing to give up like a Robbie Anderson, a Marcus May, or
they were really looking for picks? I don't know how much they're looking for a player, honestly. But I mean, it'd be tough giving up Robbie right now because of Quincy and Enunwa going down. But I wouldn't have minded that if Quincy was still around. But I mean, when it came out, they were looking for a first or even a second-round pick for Minkah Fitzpatrick.
But the Jets don't have second-round picks until like 2030. We gave away 90 of them this past draft.
That's true. But, I mean, I don't know, man. Do we think a first-round pick's worth it? It might be. It honestly might be.
Now, if you're Adam Gase and you're Joe Douglas and you're looking at all the injuries happening right now, is it really worth giving up future picks to get in this guy? Yeah, we have a little more time with him, but is this the time to grab a guy like him when right now you're starting quarterbacks out and you have a real chance of going 0-5, 0-6, 1-6, 1-7 now?
I mean, that's 100% true, but that you also have to look at what's coming up in college because literally cornerback is probably our biggest weakness right now. And what do we think a corner that's coming up in the first that could be coming up in the first round that is worth that we know can produce like Minkah can? I think that's the biggest question because what else are we going to take in the first round right now? Who are you going to take? Maybe a wide receiver, but that's it. Other than the wide receiver or corner.
I also don't trust the Jets picking cornerbacks lately. I know Joe Douglas is new, but I can't even remember. I know we had the one guy who was a big target. He was from Alabama, I think.
D. Milner.
D. Milner ended up being probably the worst corner in the NFL.
Yeah.
It wasn't even an exaggeration. Then we just had Perry Nickerson, and he was bad. And, it's been just a comedy of errors at corner. Since drafting Darrelle Revis, I don't think they've drafted a good high-end corner.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. If we don't think a high-end corner is coming and we don't think we need a wide receiver that badly, I don't see any reason not to give up that first round for Minkah.
It's going to be a tough choice. This is the type of decisions that make or break GMs early and head coaches. Because if Joe Douglas makes the move and Minka ends up being bad, then Joe Douglas's tenure and Adam Gase could be out. But if they make the move, he ends up being great, and we have something to build on. This is the type of gambles. Or if he sits pat and then Minka goes and becomes an all-pro player, like this is a real test for the Jets front office right now.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it's tough. Sometimes it's just luck. Like, you got to go with your gut, and sometimes you just get lucky or unlucky, and where the player is actually going to produce like he should or not.
So give me a prediction. Are the Browns going to whoop the hell out of the Jets?
I want to say they're winning by – the Browns would probably beat us at least by 7, but I think we can keep it close. It all depends on how our linebackers fare, because it's going to be like Blake Cashman, Neville Hewitt, maybe Copeland. I think Copeland still might be playing. I don't think he's injured. It all depends on how our linebackers fare, honestly, because they're going to be the biggest problem with CJ out.
I don't think the Jets can score. Right now, that's what I saw last week from the starting group, is they are 20-20. They can move the ball, but I don't think the Jets can score. And we don't trust our field goal kickers. I think what do we have?
Sam Ficken.
Ficken? Yeah, we got Ficken, and Ficken we trust. But I don't know if the Jets can score, and I think it might be close until about the second half, and then I think the Browns are going to just run away with it, and it'll be a 2-score victory at least for Cleveland. At least. Because I just don't think the Jets can score, and they're going to put their defense on the field 1,000 times.
Yeah, well, I could see that. You never know. You never know what happens with football, especially when it's just week 2.
I agree. Now, something else we don't know what the hell's going on, David.
Yeah, new AB news, of course.
Antonio Brown makes the show again. Hey.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this one is not as light as the other ones. He was accused of 3 different accounts of sexual assault and rape. Well, 2 accounts of sexual assault, 1 of rape. He could have been placed on the commissioner exempt list, but they did not place him on it. All these accusations are from his former trainer. It is a civil case, not a criminal one. And AB countersued as well. Apparently they're planning to meet this week too. But it's an interesting case. Some of the way it's described of what he did to her in the sexual assaults and the rape, it's weird. It's weird, but I mean, AB is a weird guy. So it's like, I'm not entirely like, we got to see how this works out, but I think the Patriots are planning to play him.
Yeah, and this is one of those where until we have all the facts, this is very similar. It's different from the Tyreek Hill case, but it is similar in a sense that until we have all the facts, I think everyone needs to step back.
Yeah, we can't.
Off there. I was listening to Colin Cowherd the other day, and he said that in the business that, now we're in and he's in, it's so important to be first. But I agree with him in this sense where he said this is one where he's not going to be first, and neither do we. I don't want.
Yeah, we can't say he's innocent or guilty until everything comes out.
No, and of course there was a big, the accusations came out, and then all of a sudden there was a storm of AB released emails that he had sent and these text messages and a video of them hanging out, and it's like he's working hard to prove his innocence early, and the countersuit makes it look like he's very confident that he didn't do it. And this is the top of the news that Neymar was just cleared by his accusers. I think this went on for a few years.
Yeah.
At least a year where he was accused of a rape, and it was ended up being that they were trying to exploit him because he just got the biggest mega deal in the history of sports.
Yeah.
And this the accuser and the husband went away to jail, but that is one case. And I don't want people to fall into the mold of, well, because that's the case, this is what we need to assume. No, we need to assume nothing.
No, you gotta find all the facts out. And sometimes it takes a while.
And I do have to say that until the courts move to, whether if they choose to indict him, then he shouldn't be playing. Then he should be, at least placed on the exempt list so that but if they move to do nothing, then I don't think the NFL should do anything. I'm actually happy that he has a chance to do this week, because at this point there is only accusations, nothing proven, no true investigation.
Yeah, exactly. You can't hold the guy off on accusations. It's not right because anyone could be accused of anything. You can't just hold them off for that.
Now, what always annoys me though is that these big sports leagues investigate things. What the hell are you investigating for? Why do you have an investigative arm? Like, that is like, and it's similar when someone makes a workers' comp complaint. There's private eyes that are just placed out of these people's houses all the time to make sure that they are not doing anything because they're claiming to be hurt.
Yeah.
But this one, why are you going to talk to the accuser? You have no legal ramifications. Yes, you can suspend him, but what is the purpose of you gathering information? You're not, they're not your player. They're not your employee. Like if I'm the NFLPA, I'm trying to eliminate this from any and every part of every sport, because the fact that leagues investigate legal matters is insane to me.
Yeah, they really shouldn't investigate legal. It makes sense for them to investigate, like, let's say the substance list that they have, like anything that's not allowed. Like, it makes sense if they're investigating any of that, something that's specifically to their company. But legal matters, it really doesn't make much sense, because what are you really going to find out that they don't? Like, are you going to make a decision that goes against theirs? Like, I'm not entirely sure.
You know, and this is similar, like, and I think all these leagues place in, like, you know, content detrimental to the league, and that's kind of like their Patriot Act to do whatever the hell they want with these players when it comes to these things. Yeah. And I find this to be similar to when the federal government gets involved with, like, steroid cases or things like that. Like, where the steroid in sports issue should be just in sports. I don't want my taxpayer money going towards investigating people using steroids. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
They decided to destroy their body to make millions. That's not my problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it falls. I don't like any of these outside investigations where if it's legal, it should stay with legal, not with the sport. And if it's within the sport, it just stay within the sport. And our government and legal system shouldn't get involved with it unless it has something to do with them. It really doesn't.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. It just wastes time, honestly. That's all it is.
It wastes time. But, you know, I am happy to see AB playing. I'm excited and not.
Oh, no, I'm not happy. He's a Patriot.
Yeah. You know, I'm happy the guy just gets to play again. He's a weirdo football player. It'll be interesting. If anyone can make this guy relax, it's Tom Brady, because I don't think we're going to get – because he obviously likes Josh Gordon, especially down in the end zone. Brady looks for Gordon.
I would like Josh Gordon too. Yeah, man's a monster if he's not doing drugs.
Antonio Brown's a deep threat. Julian Edelman's underneath. Like, they now have the exact group. And for the first time in a long time, they're not using tight ends as major weapons.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see how Tom Brady spreads the wealth amongst those three and his stable of running backs that he has.
Yeah, I think it's going to be terrifying. I still think they're going to be able to do it, and that's terrifying.
This is a good litmus test for them, too, because the Bills' defense is arguably the best defense in the NFL. So you're going to have –
it's one of the better ones, yes.
Yes, you're going to have a very good defense going up and playing a chess match for Tom Brady. The key is going to be
that's not this week.
Yeah, it is. I thought it was this week.
No. This week is the next utter humiliation of the Dolphins. Dude, it's Patriots Dolphins.
No, I thought it was Bills are playing Giants. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. This is quite literally, this is Marist playing Michigan. Like, this is going to be bad. I'm sorry, Marist. I love my alma mater. They beat Stetson yesterday. Go Marist, but no.
No, it's going to be a bad time.
This is that game where the Dolphins come out firing for like a drive because they have pride and they want to prove they're NFL players. Like, believe me, we've been here with the Jets plenty, where they come out and they look like they have life. And then the very next drive comes and the Patriots like block a punt, score, get a safety, and then end up winning like 66 to -4. Like, it's going to happen. There's going to be the first ever negative score in this game. The refs are just going to like find the Dolphins for not being an organization.
Yeah, it's going to I'm interested to see what happens in that game, honestly.
I'm not interested at all. This is going to be – Ryan Tannehill right now is the happiest guy. Even though he's a backup, he's like, God, I'm out of there. I'm not dealing with this right now. I get to go home to my beautiful wife and great family every day and still make a few $1 million for being a backup. I'm good.
Exactly, especially with how injured he was.
So on to the next thing. We finally have an OBJ sighting on this podcast where we're not just mentioning him for not being an idiot. Now, we decided to ignore a lot of his interviews that he did where he was bashing the Giants and stuff.
Yeah, I mean...
And even the interview he did where he's bashing the Jets, basically saying that the Browns players told him that Greg Williams told them to hurt him. Greg Williams, I've had coaches that have told me, like, listen, this is the guy that if you want to win this game, probably should try and take him out. They're not telling you to do it illegally, but you know what? Hit him as hard as you can. If he gets out the game because you cracked him, goodbye. You know? He was whining about that, but we're going to talk about what happened to him on the field. And me and you talked about this a little bit over the week.
Yeah.
Where you think it's not a big deal. I think that it's going to create a big deal. So he was fined for wearing a $350,000 watch, bright orange. It's not even like he can hide it. But he wore a watch during the game, and he was fined by the NFL because it was an object that they say is hard. I guess you're not allowed to wear watches during the game. I think it's stupid for him to even want to wear a watch. You think it's not a big deal. I think it's annoying because this is a guy that he's like that small petulant child in a class. Like everyone else is good in the class. And he's the kid that's just like, oh, that's a rule. I'm going to break it because, I'm me. I just think it's childish what he's doing.
I mean, I can't entirely disagree with what you're saying. Like maybe, yeah, he shouldn't have worn a watch. But like I said, as a fan myself, I don't really entirely care unless he's missing games. Like if I'm a Browns fan, he's missing games, then I'm like, OBJ, what are you doing? But if he's just getting fined, I mean, you wore a $350,000 watch on the field. You don't care about the fine. It's that simple. So as a fan, I really don't care. Maybe as an organization, I can see the NFL caring a little bit because, you really shouldn't be wearing that. But, I mean, I don't think the watch is really going to hurt anyone, but maybe it goes against their whatever contracts they have with their clothing and everything, because you know how they have those.
Oh yeah.
So I get it from that perspective. But from a fan's perspective, I really do not care.
What makes it worse to me though is he got the fine, he complained, but he said he's going to continue wearing it. like you know what? And there are certain times where you just got to look at a guy and just be like, dude. It's dumb. Like you're sitting here with a young team. You guys just got your teeth kicked in, and you're worried about the NFL fining you over a watch. Take the damn watch off and go win a game. Like he wasn't the reason why they lost. He had a solid game. He played well.
Yeah.
But why are you going to sit there and now? I guarantee they're going to have to field some questions about, well, how do you feel about Odell Beckham and the league and the watch? And it's like we got bigger things to worry about.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It always annoys me, and I think this is old school, where it annoys me when guys give a crap more about themselves than their other players. I'm not saying the team, I'm not saying the league, but just the other guys that you're playing with. Like he obviously gives more of a damn about himself than everyone else around him.
Yeah, but I mean, he's a wide receiver diva. I mean, we've seen him multiple times before. I mean, but as long as he's producing, I don't entirely care that much. That's my thing. As long as especially if I'm a Cleveland Browns fan.
I mean, if I'm a defender, I'm doing everything I can to just rip that watch off his arm just to piss him off. Every time I tackle him, I'm trying to get my finger underneath the latch, underneath the strap, and just.
You could possibly break your finger like that, though.
Oh no! When we're on the ground, I'm not gonna do it while tackling.
Oh, okay.
Like if I have him on the ground, like instead of throwing the thumb in the ribs, which happens all the time,
yeah,
I'm going to throw my finger inside to try and wiggle it in there, and I'm just hoping to piss him off and just get his head out of the game so we can go and Josh Norman.
Just at the bottom of the pile, just unstrap it while he's laying there and can't get up. Just
like the BYU player that threw the shoe,
threw the Tennessee
and launched it. That would be fantastic. Or take it off and put it on. That would be even better if somebody steals his watch. That would be so cool. Please, somebody steal the man's watch.
Keep Talib. He's chain snatcher. You know what you need to do. Watch snatcher now.
What they're the Giants and not the Giants. They're playing the Jets. So who can we have? Who needs to steal it? Jamal Adams, King Maul. Call yourself the king and steal this man's watch.
He's president. He's not king.
Oh, he's the king.
He was democratically elected.
He was democratic. The president Maul, he needs to go, and I just want him to go up to Odell Beckham, and every time he walks near him, just try and take his watch. That's all I want. He can score a touchdown, and as he's in the touchdown celebrating, I want Jamal Adams to run up and just try and take his watch. It needs to happen every play. It needs to be something where a scrum occurs, because one Jets player, if I'm Greg Williams, I'm like, no, don't hurt him. Just steal his watch.
Just take his watch. Just take his watch.
And put it on. Don't even throw it. Just put it on. That would be amazing, because I would take Odell out of the game. He would go and try and go after you. He'd cry. He'd go and kiss the net, and it would just be weird, and I'd love it.
That'd be fantastic. But anyway, since we're talking about a democratically elected president, Jamal Adams, we're going to talk about Team USA and the fact that they did not win at FIBA. They lost in the quarterfinals. They lost in the quarterfinals to France. who didn't even win the FIBA World Cup. Spain won it all.
Yep.
And listen, I know, I understand basketball is a very international game. There's a lot of great international players, a lot of very good international players. But as the US of A, we still need to be winning this. This is still our sport. I get that they probably put their all into this, but obviously their all wasn't enough, and that's not good for us. That's not a good look for us. I know we want it to be an international game, but I think we also still want it to be our game.
We want it to be our game. This is our game. Basketball is the one thing that, and football, they're the two things we can cling to, that it is ours. We are supposed to be head and shoulders ahead of everyone. And the worst part is not that they just lost in the quarters. They lost to Serbia the next game, and then they finally won. They finished 7th. This is the lowest they've ever finished.
Yep.
Ever. And this is including when we were throwing U20s in these games. It is bad. All-time bad. And Spain winning it all is fine because Spain has some good players. Marc Gasol's a beast. Like, they all know how to play with each other.
Yeah.
One of my biggest issues is a lot of these games went on while I was at work, and I was able to watch like some of them during break. And when it came down to crunch time, I love Pop. I think Kerr's a good coach. But they basically went with Donovan Mitchell, Kemba Walker, and then a bunch of Boston Celtics. And if this is what Boston fans have to look forward to, they're in trouble. They're in trouble because they were not good. They were not good down the stretch. And you have guys on that team that could have really produced. It wasn't a secret. Everyone was praising Joe Harris and his shooting all FIBA tournament, that his threes were lethal. And when it came to crunch time, he wasn't on the floor. And threes are big in the international game. And he knows how to move the ball with the way the Nets play. I don't understand this, Dave.
I don't understand it. I mean, listen, the U.S. went through a lot where people just decided, they're saying, no, I'm not playing. I'm not risking injury for this, which I think it says a lot. We need to step up our game USA-wise and be like, and try to figure out a way for them to come out. At least more players to want to come out and say, yeah, I still want to represent. But we still had the names. We still had a lot of good players, in the league. And we should still be able to win. I mean, Miles Turner should be at least a rock down there for the Pacers. He is. Like, Kemba's a very good player. Marcus Smart is a very good defender. But was he injured? I think he
was hurt. He was watching. Jason Tatum was hurt, and he came back and he played.
Yeah. So I mean, we should have won. We should have won. No matter what, we should have won. I wasn't able to watch them. So I didn't see everything that happened. But I mean, the first quarter against France, what we were down 32-7? It
was embarrassing.
How are we so offensively anemic? And what happened?
And I think part of this does fall on top of Popovich, because he fell in love with Miles Turner. And Miles Turner can't shoot. He could play defense, but he can't shoot. The big man to me on this roster that's valuable is Mason Plumlee. Mason Plumlee plays defense. His passing is insane down low. He's not Nurkic, he's not Jokic in terms of passing, or even Marc Gasol. But you've seen on Denver, when him and Jokic are down there, they are putting on clinics passing the ball from the big man spot.
Yeah.
And Brook Lopez barely got any use, and Brook Lopez was a key cog on a Milwaukee Bucks team that's looking to be a championship contender. And he can shoot threes.
Yeah, no, it's weird. I honestly don't want to doubt how much they cared. But I also don't understand why we weren't able to get more than 7 points in the first quarter. I mean, I know Rudy Gobert is down there, but threes matter a lot more in FIBA, so we're not down in the paint as much.
Now, I'm curious, because Greg Popovich has great respect. Steve Kerr has great respect. And even Jay Wright sitting on that bench has fantastic respect. Was there a factor of Coach K not being there really making people tentative and not confident in the international coaching? Because Coach K was a fantastic international coach, and he coached up these guys, and he was able to balance coaching superstars and making them play together, which is no easy task. Is that a factor in players not wanting to come play?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. I mean, the way Pop coaches is actually different from the way K coaches.
Yeah.
Pop's team, I mean, you look at him, he had superstars, But he also had a lot of people who just knew their role. That was the point of the team, and they played their role extremely well. And that he's the team fundamental Spurs. Like that's what we know him as. So it could have definitely been partially a reason, because people love Coach K. He deals with basically superstars every single year. That's what he does. So yeah, that definitely could have been a reason. We could rack our brains for the reason why for some Team USA can't win the FIBA World Cup, but it didn't happen. And I think we have a right to be a little upset as basketball fans at the fact that USA didn't win.
I'm looking forward to Redeem Team 2.0. The Olympics has been kind of like a B-League team that we put together over the last few Olympics since the Redeem Team.
Yeah.
I feel like this time we're going to get Kyrie. I feel like we're going to get Anthony Davis coming this time around. I think Zion's going to be a member of that team. I think we're going to have a Redeem Team 2.0, and we're just going to have to get back to dominant victory.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be this small-time struggle against teams. It's going to be...
No, we got to show the world where we're at still.
Yeah, and I think it's tough because we need to... National pride needs to be a thing. It needs to be a thing, and I think I respect all these guys who are coming to play. I really do.
I know, 100%. You risked injury, getting contracts and everything to play. So thank you.
Yes, we respect them. I think they battled their asses off, but in the end, we need James Harden back. We need Anthony Davis. We need Kyrie. We need those guys. Even Derrick Rose, if he's still at a level. Come on, the guys towards the end of their career that could still ball should be out here.
Yeah,
that's it. Because you're past your big contracts. You should be out here and playing. So I'm now looking forward to the Olympics and whether or not guys are going to come out and play.
Yeah, no, it'd be a ton of fun. And speaking of some guy that we could possibly see on a Redeem Team, depending on his injury and how it progresses.
As I'm talking about, end of their career guys need to be out there.
Exactly. KD, WSJ had a whole long KD article called Kevin Durant's New Headspace about a lot of things, a ton of things. Main thing is Kevin Durant, as we may all know, he's a very outspoken athlete. Honestly, he may be one of the most outspoken athletes we've seen in a long time. Just the way he says things, he's himself. He never tries to really pander too much. And that, I love him or hate him, you got to kind of respect him for that one. So he talks about how people always ask him if he's happy. He's kind of like, shut up, man. It's like, I'm happy. Like, there's no reason to keep asking that. He's like talking about mental health and talking about previous teams, the Golden State Warriors, OKC Thunder, and now the Nets. And he got into a lot. I don't know how much you got through, Alex. Do you want me to explain more?
I'll kind of give a little bit of my take on just what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is part of him trying to stay relevant because one of the things is, and I think he saw what happened with Kawhi. Kawhi was hurt. Kawhi was quiet. And people forgot that Kawhi Leonard was one of the best three players in the league. And then all of a sudden he comes back, wins a championship, and now everyone's saying Kawhi is possibly better than LeBron and Kevin Durant, which he isn't. But that's what recency bias does. So I think this is smart on Kevin Durant's part where he is at least keeping his name out there and knocking on the door and saying, hey, don't forget about me.
Yeah.
Number two, he's doing this for us, David. He's doing this for the Nets fans.
Oh, I can definitely see that.
For the Nets faithful, where there's still the whole entire thing where if he was healthy, the Knicks, he would have went to the Knicks, no doubt, if he was healthy, and Golden State, and that nobody likes the Nets besides Nets fans. So everyone's trying to downplay the fact that the Nets are a destination. So he's doing this for us. And, and I think he's also doing this. This is kind of, he gives these interviews every once in a while. And I think this is kind of a little bit of therapy for him where he gets to listen to all the rumors out there. And he's not doing it reactionary like we've seen LeBron do in the past. And we've even seen Kevin do in the past. He's doing it in a very thoughtful, controlled setting where he can control the narrative and get out what he wants to get out for that time. So I really do enjoy what he's doing. And you told me that the article, you can get a little more in depth in the article, but it's very similar to the last article he did. I think it was Chris Haynes he did it with, where he just goes in depth about becoming a member of the Brooklyn Nets, his time with Golden State, his time at OKC. So you want to give a little more explanation on what he was talking about?
Yeah, I'm assuming people have seen some of the quotes from this article already. I know a lot of outlets usually just take quotes and put them out. And understandably so. It's quick and easy. But he talks about OKC, talks about the fact that he at first, like, he did want to go back there. But after, like, his reunions there, going back and all the fans hating him, I mean, like, listen, I didn't like the move either. But I guess everything he heard and everything, like, he got from the OKC fans and the staff and everything, he never wants to go back there. He does not trust them anymore. That is one thing he made very clear in this article. He does not trust them anymore. And he's like, just because I went to Golden State, you're going to hate me like this much? Like, and I mean, I didn't like the move either. But he definitely has somewhat of a point. And he talks about Golden State. And I remember Shannon Sharp saying this on Undisputed, the fact that because he wasn't drafted there, he probably would never be looked at the same as a Steph Curry in Golden State, no matter how great he does.
Nope.
And Kevin Durant, he basically said the same thing in this article. Like, he said he loved it there. He loved the players and everything, but he never felt the same love as Steph, as the others that were there. And like, because he came in having things already. He came in having these awards. He came in having all these accolades already. He wasn't a Golden State boy.
Yeah, and the thing is, and Golden State, it's been long withstanding. I know I get ribbed all the time, but they've been my second favorite team for a very, very long time now. Since Jason Richardson played on that team, I experienced, Baron Davis leading them with Steven Jackson to beat the first place Mavs when they snuck in on the 8th seed. And I enjoyed Golden State, the homegrown guys. It even soured me when Kevin went over there. But I have to talk about one thing that I saw in this article, and I want to get your take on it, because to me, it seems like it's a slight to LeBron without him mentally even knowing he's doing it. At one point, he was asked about what it's like to choke in a big game. And he flat out said he's never choked. He thinks that taking the shot, missing or not, is not choking. It's flying. And he said that not shooting is choking. And we've heard that criticism against LeBron.
Especially from Skip. Skip probably loved that part.
So was it a conscious slight? Was it something where it's his mentality and it's subconscious?
I don't think it was a conscious slight. I think that's just legitimately his perspective on choking, on the way people bring up choking. And you know what? I gotta say, I love that perspective, because no matter what, you can't say you didn't even try. You choked if you didn't try. And like I said, I don't think it's a slight against LeBron, because even though LeBron is a great player, I feel like we are very much overlooking the way LeBron plays a game. I understand he should be having the last shot most of the time because of how great he is, but he is a facilitator first and foremost.
I've said it so many times. He's Magic Johnson, Oscar Robertson. He's not Michael Jordan.
If he knows his best shooter has a chance at the shot, he's going to give it to them. And that's just the way he plays, because he wants to win. He doesn't want himself. He doesn't just want himself to win. He wants the team to win. That's the way he's a facilitator. That's the way he works. And no, I don't think it was a slight. I don't think Kevin Durant meant it that way, because, he is friends with LeBron. I think that's just the way he is. Kevin Durant's a scorer. He's a big-time scorer, probably one of the best we've ever seen in the game. And that's why he said it that way, because he never choked, because he is the scorer. He put up the ball no matter what.
So I'm really confident in Kevin Durant coming back a little bit earlier than expected. But I'm happy he does these things, and I'm looking forward to it.
I like it a lot, because it's given me a lot more of in-depth look at Kevin Durant himself, and I've gotten a lot more respect for the man after reading these. I have. I like him, and it's not just because I'm a Nets fan. Not just because I'm a Nets fan, but if you read him and you're at least understanding the man himself.
So we're going to move on. Kevin Durant's obviously a future Hall of Famer. We're going to talk about some guys who are vying to get into the NFL Hall of Fame right now. And it's an interesting list. The NFL let out their 122 modern era nominees. And right on top of the list right away, you see the names of Troy Polamalu, Reggie Wayne, Maurice Jones-Drew, Johnny Abraham, all vying to get in for the first time.
Yes.
Out of those 4, are any of them a lock?
Troy.
I think Troy Polamalu.
Troy 100%, and Reggie probably.
You think
Troy and Reggie.
Reggie Wayne, wide receivers have had it tough lately. They've had it really, really
That's
tough.
That's true,
lately.
But it's mainly only diva wide receivers that have had it tough. Even though they completely deserve it, it's only the diva ones that have had it tough. Reggie Wayne was never a diva.
Isaac Bruce was never a diva.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know.
Isaac Bruce was very similar to Reggie Wayne, where he was a workhorse guy. He was a big part of the greatest show on turf with Azakim and that group and Torrey Holt. And people forget Isaac Bruce was great before those two got there. When the Rams were terrible, it was Isaac Bruce and everybody else.
Yeah, that's true. It's tough then. But Troy is definitely a lock. I would like to think Reggie is a lock, but you have a good point. But other than that, Troy is 100% a lock. I don't know. The other 3, no. I do think they deserve it, but I don't think they're locks.
So it's going to be a tough call. I want to run down some other guys. I mentioned Isaac Bruce. He was a finalist last year that didn't make it. I think that he has a better chance over Reggie Wayne of making it just because
he's been in there a year longer. Yeah.
Another first-time nominee is Patrick Willis. I don't think Patrick Willis gets in. I don't think Johnny Abraham gets in. I don't think Justin Smith gets in. Patrick Willis was fantastic. It was a short period of time. We see those short burst guys get in. Johnny Abraham, I think, fantastic, but too injured. Lance Briggs is another first-timer. I don't think those guys get in. And I don't think Maurice Jones-Drew ever gets in. I don't think he ever gets in.
I don't know. I used to love Maurice Jones-Drew, so there's a little bit of a bias there. I think he is one of the more special running backs we've seen. He was not on a – he was a very – very big focal point for that Jags team.
Yeah, but we see Edgerrin James as a finalist last year. I think Edgerrin James was a better overall resume than Maurice Jones-Drew, and I think he has a better chance of getting in.
Yeah, it's true, but I can see Maurice Jones-Drew getting in at one point. He's not first ballot, but he can get in at one point.
All right, so let's look at the whole 122 list. Do you have the whole group in front of you?
Yes, I do.
All right, so we're going to talk about each group, and I want you to give me one from each group that we didn't talk about that might have a chance of getting in. So let's start off with the quarterbacks.
Okay. Do you want me to give all 7?
Well, I'll run down the guys, and then you can give me who's almost lock. All right. Randall Cunningham, Jake Delhomme, Boomer Esiason, Jeff Garcia, Jeff Hostetler, Dave Krieg, and Donovan McNabb.
All right. I'm going Randall Cunningham. Completely deserves it. Man was insane. And if you were watching NFL Top 100, you saw one of his plays on there. He's not only very good, he was a trendsetter. He did a lot for the Eagles.
I'm going Boomer Esiason. I think Boomer, he led the Bengals to a Super Bowl. He was a good Jet, and I think he's just going to get it off his name and his popularity as well. I think they like to definitely help out popular players.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get in off his popularity.
Yeah, no, I can see that as well.
All right, running backs. There's 19 of them, so hang in there with me. Sean Alexander, Mike Allstott, Tiki Barber, Ernest Biner, Larry Centers, Corey Dillon, Eddie George, Priest Holmes, Edgerrin James, Darrell Johnson, Thomas Jones, MJD, Eric Metcalf, Lorenzo Neal, Clinton Portis, Fred Taylor, Herschel Walker, Chris Warren, and Ricky Waters. God, there's so many good names there. Pick one.
I know. My one. This is tough, man. I'm actually stuck between 2 right now, but I'm going to go with just this one. I'm going to go with Tiki Barber.
Wow.
I don't know. I always loved the way Tiki ran. He was a huge name for a very long time. I think he produced a lot for the Giants. I don't think there's much arguing against Tiki. I wholeheartedly believe he should get in.
I have 2 as well, but I'm going to settle with Eddie George. I think Eddie George was from the Oilers to the Titans. He had, they were great teams, and he was one of the most dominant running backs in the game for a long time. I was actually stuck between 3 because Sean Alexander and Ricky Waters are also 2 of my guys. So.
I wanted Clinton Portis as well. I'm not going to lie. I loved Clinton Portis.
Clinton Portis was fun. Let's jump into wide receivers. There's 12 there. Isaac Bruce, Gary Clark, Donald Driver, Harry Ellard, Torrey Holt, Chad Johnson, Derek Mason, Muhsin Muhammad, Jimmy Smith, Rod Smith, Hines Ward, Reggie Wayne.
Chad Johnson. No one had faster feet than Chad Johnson. The man did so much with such a smaller frame. He completely deserves it. Easily one of the best wide receivers we've ever seen. Antonio Brown is his comparison. And if you don't think Antonio Brown's going to be a Hall of Famer, then you're crazy. So Chad Johnson, 100%, there's no argument.
I like Jimmy Smith. People forget that from the fledgling Jaguars, Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell were two dominant wide receivers with Mark Brunell and Fred Taylor back there.
They were.
But Jimmy Smith was the best player out of those guys. You can argue Fred Taylor, but Jimmy Smith is an absolute Hall of Famer. The guy worked with a group of upstarts on a brand new team that was created in the year he played there, and they went to the AFC championships.
Yeah, he's a great player. Yeah.
Jimmy Smith's fantastic. I think he deserves to get in. All right, tight ends, only 6 of them. Dallas Clark, Ben Coates, Keith Jackson, Brent Jones, Jeremy Shockey, Wesley Walls. Go.
Dallas Clark. I got to go with Dallas Clark in that group. I don't think Shockey really gets it. I think he's in their name alone. Like Dallas Clark, maybe Ben Coates as well, but I'm going Dallas Clark.
I agree. Dallas Clark. It's not even a question.
I don't think it's very much of a debate with those 6.
Offensive linemen, I'm not going to go through all of them because I guarantee most people don't know all of them. Just
and it's 19 names.
Give me a name that jumps out at you and who you think can get in.
Faneca. Faneca is definitely one that could get in and should get in. And Jeff Saturday. I don't think, especially recently, Jeff Saturday is a name that a lot of people are going to know. He's just a name that people know and love.
Matt Burke was a great center. I think he gets in eventually. Yeah. And Tony Baselli was a finalist. He has a good chance of getting in.
Yeah.
D linemen, these names are a little more known. There's 12. I'll run through them quickly. John Abraham, Leroy Glover, Casey Hampton, Chester McLaughlin, Leslie O'Neal, Simeon Rice, Richard Seymour, Justin Smith, Neil Smith, Greg Townsend, Bryant Young. Who do you got?
Richard Seymour. He was a finalist last year, and he deserved to be. I think he should be able to get in.
I agree. Richard Seymour, I think, is the only guy out of that group that is Hall of Famer.
Yeah, no, Richard Seymour is a really great player.
All right, linebackers are 17. I'm not going through all of them, Dave. Pick one.
I got to look at him again real quick. Teddy Bruschi. Or they had Teddy Bruschi or Lance Briggs. Either one. Doesn't matter. They were both great for the teams they played for. They both deserve it.
I like James Farrier. I think James Farrier, he was on the
Farrier was good.
He went from being a pretty much a role guy to a key cog in a few Super Bowls. Great linebacker, had 100 tackles for multiple years. I think he's one of those guys you need to definitely jump in there. Defensive back, and there's 15. Pick one. Now we have finalists in there. Steve Atwater.
Troy 100%. Obviously going to get in.
Troy already.
Yeah, but John Lynch completely deserves it. Bob Sanders completely deserves it, I think. There's so many good names defensive back-wise.
Bob Sanders was injured. He was great when he was there, but he was injured.
He was injured, but he was so great.
I think length has something to do with it, and I love Darren Woodson. I think Darren Woodson could already be in. I have no idea.
And I mean, Rondé was great for the defense.
I don't think Rondé was ever the number one on that team. I think he was always just a guy there.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big Rondé. Punters, kickers. There's 11 of them. There's all these names I think most football players know. David Akers, Gary Anderson, Jason Elam, Jeff Fiegels, Jason Hanson, Sean Landetta, Ryan Longwell, Nick Lowery, Reggie Roby, Ron Stark, Matt Turk. Who do you got?
Akers 100%. I'm pretty sure Akers has a 63 yarder as well. He is part of the record books. He should be part of the Hall of Fame.
I like Jeff Fiegels. Whenever Jeff Fiegels came into punt, you knew he was going to do a coffin corner. He's one of the last guys to do the coffin corner kick, and he did everything. Last but not least, special teamers. I'm just going with this one. Josh Cribbs and Brian Mitchell are the two guys that should get in out of those two.
I can completely agree with that, especially Josh Cribbs. He was disgusting as a special teamer.
So good. All right, so last but not least, as we're up against it for a little bit of time, we're going to do it. Last thing we're touching on is the NCAA is in a battle now. The state of California, a little while ago, introduced and passed a bill. It's sitting on Governor Newsom's desk now to let athletes get paid off of their likeness. And now South Carolina has now jumped in as well in introducing that bill. Dave, I'm going to take all the credit for this because I've been talking about this for years. Colleges, the NCAA itself, none of them should have to pay the players because, kids that don't play sports, kids that play smaller sports like I did track should not have to subsidize the bigger players. But if you can make money off of signings, if you can make money off your likeness on getting a small sponsorship regionally or even a major one, you should be able to take it, because these teams, the NCAA itself is making millions off of you. And for my small corner over here at Marist and other small schools, the women's basketball team is a bunch of superstars here.
Yeah.
These women could be getting paid by some regional places to do signings and different types of things like that. So I think it would be great for these athletes to get ready to handle money as well at the next level.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with it. I feel like you should be able to get it off your likeness. And honestly, if we're really going to try to have the NCAA pay players, do you know how complex that would be? You just try to sit down and think about how you're going to play all these players and all these sports. How are you going to do that? How are you going to allocate the money? They might have the money for it, but how are you going to do it? How are you going to decide who gets paid what? So I think getting paid off their likeness is easily the best way.
The tricky part's going to come in basketball and football, where they are selling jerseys with numbers, maybe not the names, but numbers. And you're going to know that back in the day, I think Reggie Bush wore 25 for USC.
Yes.
You hit Bush off the back and you saw a bunch of 25s in the stands. It's because of Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
Was Reggie Bush entitled to some of that money? That is going to be the question.
Yeah, that is a tough one.
And is it going to be just that now everyone's going to be buying generic jerseys that just say USC on them, and that's going to be the case, or Ohio State? Or is there going to have to be a deal cut where if we're selling a number because you're a superstar, are you entitled to a percentage of that? And I'm going to say that they're going to have to settle, and it's going to be a yes, especially.
They're going to have to. They're going to have to, because it's off likeness.
Yep, and I think this is the right step. I'm encouraging all 50 states to take this up because it's definitely deserved. I'm happy that we're seeing a more progressive state like California and a more conservative state like South Carolina both doing this, because now this crosses all sports boundaries where, you might be talking maybe political. Some places will do it and some places won't. No, it's getting done everywhere. It's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
The kids deserve to get paid. The school shouldn't do it. The other athletes shouldn't subsidize it. Even the NCAA shouldn't do it because they're going to figure out a way to screw the schools.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be subsidized by anyone else but private corporations that want to pay these kids for their likeness.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, with that, closing out this episode of Cuesta Dos, I thought this one was pretty damn good. I liked it.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a fun one.
All right, again, I'm Alex Cuesta. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @_Cuesta30. Find my brother David on Twitter at dcuesta308, on Instagram at Cuesta-Cola. Find Sports Opinions on Twitter at SportsOpinion30, Instagram SportsOpinions30. Go visit the Facebook page, and do not forget to listen to the other podcast under this umbrella, the Sports Opinions podcast itself, Personal Foul Podcast with host Colton Gesser, and The Playbook with Rob and Joe, where they just talk everything football and break down the game to make it understandable for everybody. Again, everybody, thank you for listening. Have a good one.